Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as we have got a great Zerg bot, the great Zerg bot, I'll say. It's going to be Eris taking on a Terran warrior bot. It is Phobos. So a TVZ, but more importantly, a bot versus bot match between these two. And yeah, it should be a good one. I think it's safe to say these two know each other fairly well. Now, which one counters the other better is what we're going to find out. Now, Eris is a beastly macro Zerg, and Phobos is more of a timing push-centered Terran bot, but both of them have really great fundamentals. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button. If we can get one like for every APM on these bots, that would be amazing. Hold on, let me just see what is the key to pull up the APM. I tend not to press that button too much. Well, we may never know. It's in the bottom right. Yeah, leave a like on this video and a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games. I certainly enjoy casting them. And yeah, we'll see if Phobos is able to stop the macro machine that Eris is. Eris just reaches like 80, 90 drones and just powers up so darn quickly. You blink and then it's just fully established, it seems. So we'll see if Phobos can slow it down at all. What sort of presumed attack it's gonna go for, as Phobos really is known for going for 2 base attacks primarily. And that is one of the things. It's a lot easier, I believe, as a programmer, I imagine, to program a bot that actually just does one thing well, like a timing push, then reacts to every possible thing that could be thrown its way. Arguably following the design of StarCraft 2 in general. That Reaper does actually get a drone for starters, which is nice for Phobos. Tosses a grenade in a nice place, bounces a ling, however it is being chased off of creep. Heals a little bit, and then it starts to head back on in there, but there's a queen pop now, so I don't think the Reaper will get too much more done. Eris nicely pulls away the injured lings. But still, that early drone kill is nice for Phobos. That's kind of what you want when you build a Reaper. Now, Phobos has got a starport on the way, the natural command center done, and may very well be going into... Is it going to be Hellion production here from the blue Terran? And we do see 2 Hellions on the way, so really following a human build. We'll see if there's going to be a 3rd command center or more production that goes down next. That's the question when you're watching a human game. And it's, will this Terran go for a 2 base timing with like 5 racks, or will they throw down a 3rd command center? And seeing as how we're seeing concussive shell and marauders on the way for Phobos, I do think it's gonna be the first one being aggressive off of the 2 bases, as Phobos is just making as many units as it can. The Reaper is still moving around, picks off another couple of lings, so denying a little bit of vision for Eris. And these Hellions, they're being produced with an armory on the way, so it's going to be a Hellbat Marauder slow timing push. We'll see if a Medivac gets produced after this Viking, or whether this Viking is actually able to pick off some Overlords. Killing Overlords before a push hits can be very nice, because it will prevent the Zerg from making units, and even for a few seconds that can have big consequences. Now, there's one Overlord towards that southern base, and it will actually get found. The one flying over the main base is lucky that it wasn't the one that was picked. Now, Phobos is going to kill off that one Overlord. We'll see if the Viking turns around to actually go kill the other one. No, it looks like it's just going to join the push towards the front lines. Actually, it looks like a couple Marauders sit back. I suppose they're just waiting for the Medivac. They want to travel in style. They don't walk. They want to take the car. And that's exactly what we're seeing as Hellions now cross the map. A Viking controlling the skies, and all of a sudden Eris has got to be saying, uh-oh, here comes trouble. The Queens are going to have to rally very well to deal with this Hellbat attack, and then just pump out as many lings since there's no roach warren that's done. In comes this just absolute wedge of a push from Phobos. Going to be pushing between the natural and the third base. Lings are moving forward, but Lings against Hellbats is not a good trade. They just got dissolved super quickly. More and more Lings are being produced by Eris. But yeah, those Hellbats, I don't know if it's the stutter step micro or whatever that is programmed into them, but it is looking nasty. Some drones do get burned up. Most of them do burrow to stay alive. But still, this is a lot of trouble for the Zerg to deal with. Lings do get on the Marauders and the Viking, which is very nice, as they of course do not do as well as the Hellbats. But there's still just a lot of disarray at Eris's natural. The drones being burrowed is the only thing really keeping them alive. One of those Hellbats is doing a bit of an odd dance as it gets sort of microed around. That Queen stays alive, which is nice for now for Eris. Whether it survives long-term is a different question. Hellbats are actually attacking the main base. Roaches are starting to pop on out, though. That one Queen, she's still alive. That's really nice for Eris. Any extra Queen alive is a big deal. What building just died? It was actually a Hydra Den that got killed off. No mining is going on in the main base, as Eris has taken a big hit to its economy. What a strong attack by the Terran bot. Another Queen's going to go down. Roaches should eventually clean this up, but this wasn't just a little bit of damage. This was huge damage that got done. I mean, there's like 20 drones burrowed in the main base just because of one Marauder is making them think they're still in danger. They do all unburrow and get back to work. Eris did get up a 4th base in the middle of that. And I'll say that's pretty significant, seeing as how Phobos is still just 2-basing it. Looks like that any expansion location has been disrupted by the presence of just a burrowed Ling, so Phobos, yeah, is actually floating quite a bit of money. It needs to go clean up that expansion and deny those Lings from further blocking, but it just goes to show all that effort for the attack, and Phobos isn't capitalizing on it as much as it could be. I mean, it could have started two extra command centers by now if it wanted to, and it certainly wants to. The SCV's saying, let me build, but it doesn't have a permit. Oh, bureaucracy. As that Ling is just holding that up. This is giving Eris a nice bit of time to actually, I'll say, take the lead economically. Phobos is just like, well, I got money, so I may as well build racks. So it's going to be on, oh, I don't even know how many racks, like 11 racks on 2 bases. I assumed that a great bot like Phobos wouldn't be blocked by something like this, but it is. And it really is just saying, nope, I don't need any more bases. So what a nice return on that simple burrowed Ling. I'm really actually disappointed in Phobos for not taking an expansion. This is really crippling the Terran bot. It's got the Raven out, but something's going on here with the programming. And yeah, that is just a little rough for Phobos. Maybe this isn't something Phobos encounters too often, having Lings burrowed at its bases, because it's so often being aggressive early on that it doesn't run into this problem. But Eris says, nope, I got Lings at all the bases. Some SCVs are long distance mining, but we need to see an actual base go up for Phobos. And look at this, as time's gone on, Eris has already hit 74 workers once more. That's the power of this macro Zerg. It was down under 40. Now Phobos is just going to be committing to a big attack. It's going to have to get a lot of damage done, and it very well could do, seeing as how it's got so many Marauders, so many Marines, Medivacs to support this. No stim pack, but the tanks will still be big, and a massive army supply lead. But yeah, Phobos really needs to win this game off of just 2 bases, because it's not taking an expansion. Marauders are buffering with the Medivac support against this Zerg force. The Raven will reveal the Roaches, so they can't just stay alive while burrowed. There's even SCVs with this army to have some potential repair go down, and that will be big as far as sustaining this push. Phobos is producing everything it can. It actually builds 6 supply depots despite being nowhere near supply block, going over 200 supply. So a little bit of a mess up there. The Terran army is still inching towards the throat of the Zerg. There's just not enough for Eris to defend against this. Eris did invest a lot in economy. We're even seeing a Marauder drop in the main base, gonna kill the spawning pool, so no Lings will be produced by Eris. However, Eris can still make Roaches and Hydras, which are benefiting from the 1-1 upgrades. There's no such upgrades for Phobos. As Phobos moves forward, Marines and Marauders. I mean, they're pushing everything back, but it is a very slow push. Like, Eris is being given a bit of time. Hydras are reacting to this drop in the main base. Marauders are going to do pretty good against the Hydras, seeing as how they've got a medivac healing them up. The Roaches can just burrow to stay alive. The Marauders, they are being chased away, but look at that. They are going to kill the Hydras. They're all still alive. The medivac healing them up. They've almost got the lair in the main base. This push for Phobos is looking real darn good. There's now a Ghost Academy on the way as triple ghosts are getting produced by Phobos. This is the most insane two-base push I've ever seen. Phobos is starting to run out of resources, though, as that main base mines out, so it really does need to take this as far as it possibly can. The lair did perish. One of these Evo chambers is even being worked on. Extractors going down. This drop is getting good value as the Terran bot moves forward. Eris, we'll see whether it can stand or will just crumple. It's up to 104 drones, way more than it needs, but I guess all it can really make at this point is like Hydras, as I think it's still got a Roach Horn, but yeah, it's just making Hydras. The Hydra Den is alive and well at another base location. There's a Muta on the way, but yeah, Eris is a case of too much money, not enough production. And yeah, this drop in the main base is still doing work, not really being dealt with as this entire location gets cleaned on out. This has got to be the slowest, most suspenseful push I've ever seen, as Phobos really is taking its sweet time with this one. It's making a few more SCVs, still doing a little bit of long-distance mining, but yeah, the main base is just about 100% mined out. Phobos is now moving up to the natural. This is where it needs to get, the natural and the third base where all the tech is. It's gonna be completely broke in a couple minutes here, so it does need to kind of hurry this up, or it will start to run out of steam. The supply lead for the Terran bot is ginormous, though. Eris loses the spawning pool once again. It's going to have to replace that right away. I believe there's another lair that's already built, and this is the new location for all the tech, as there is an infestation pit going on up there. New Evos have been built. Eris is just kind of playing a little bit like Alpha Star, like, oh, I'll just ignore the danger and just keep doing my macro thing. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Now, we do have Eris just still being choked out a little bit. The spire goes down. That's not the most important structure, though. SCVs are long-distance mining for Phobos now, which will bring in some money. Not nearly as much as it would be if it simply had thrown up a third base. This push is still going on, and this is just a very bot game, as these two are doing exactly what they're programmed to. Eris does have 5 infestors on the way, and this is some very clumped up bio. That could be big. Looks like the new lair at the natural base is going to be taking some pressure, though. Looks like it is actually just going to die. This Marauder drop in the main base, they're still just hanging out, doing their thing. The Viking does find an Overseer. This could potentially lead to some supply block if it starts killing off all these Overseers. And Overlords, Eris now has expanded to the bottom left. Still just mining away, getting out some infestors, down on army supply by a ridiculous amount. A fungal growth did connect with a big chunk of the bio, though. And let's see, the tanks are now moving further forward. Infestors are looking for a good neural parasite. The tank could potentially shoot them if it sees them. One infestor tosses a fungal, catches some medivacs, catches some tanks. We'll see if SCVs repair those or not. The main base has now sufficiently been cleared out. The third is still happy. The fourth base is the next target, as Eris is still falling in supply, it seems. 110, losing about 30 drones. It's going up in army supply by a little bit. It's going to have 2-2 soon enough. Meanwhile, Phobos is still just sustaining this entire push off of long-distance mining and mules. Soon enough, that last mineral patch is going to be gone, and there it goes. So it's 100% long-distance mining for Phobos. A scan goes down, but it's not at the third base that it needs to take. And I think we can say that that's probably never going to happen in this game. It really is all on this one just godly army for Phobos, trying to hunt down Eris. And we'll see whether Phobos can actually kill Eris faster than Eris can macro up and replace units. Ghosts are sniping, which is cool. We don't see a lot of bots utilize that. As another base perishes, we are seeing a new lair be built. This base towards the top is very critical for Eris with all the tech added at this point. Meanwhile, Phobos is still Well, actually just moving with some of its army, trying to catch an infestor, but instead it catches a fungal growth. Another fungal growth. Is that going to kill some of these Marines? They just barely stay alive, so they can actually be healed up. And this army is still in no way approachable for Eris. Units count as 3 infestors, 2 hydras, and a queen against 21 ghosts for Phobos. Phobos says Phobos is following the meta, saying ghosts are good. As some hydras get sniped, this bio is very susceptible to another fungal. We'll have to see a lot of good fungals for Eris to win this game. A new Hydra Den is being built, a Baneling nest down towards the south. As this game of whack-a-mole continues on, looks like this hatchery will be vulnerable. Things are looking a little rough for Eris. I'm not sure it's going to be able to pull out what it needs, although Phobos' income really has fallen. Eventually Phobos may run out of gas to mine as well. I mean, it's only got about 1,000 more gas, and I don't know if it will long-distance mine gas. And so there is potentially a timer on this, but yeah, Eris is in a really, really rough spot. Is there any infestors left? There's still the 3 infestors, so there is potential for a big play. We're even seeing a couple banelings be produced. Units lost. It is 33,000 to 5,000, as Eris just has been trying to stem the tide with units. Looks like this location down south has been spotted, unfortunately, for the Red Zerg. Looks like all these drones are still just planted like potatoes as well because of these few marauders. Phobos showing us that it doesn't need a 3rd base to win this game. It's just long distance mining, and it may eventually mine this base out. Long distance mining. I mean, 50 SCVs is still bringing it in a little bit of money. Very gradually, but a little bit of money. Looks like Phobos elects to actually just change position. I'm not sure where it's going, and this is where Eris could buy a little bit of time. For some reason, Phobos is like, oh, I didn't kill that infestation pit. I better go deal with that. And then, yeah, so bots really don't understand the concept of a base trade in full. There's a ghost and a baneling having a standoff in the middle of the map. Infestation pit does go down. That is a loss for Eris, as infestors are pretty important for it. We are seeing, I mean, there is multiple banelings on the way. 5 out presently, with 6 more on the way. If they can just trade out against what this Terran has, and look at this, Eris is still on 68 drones, mining 2,800 minerals a minute. Re-securing its natural base. Looks like this base will not stand, but even some banelings are coming on in here. Ghosts do take care of those pretty handily. Snipes are going down, catching lots of these units. I mean, Phobos really is not losing many units. It's actually building up a bank because it's trading so efficiently. It isn't really losing much. And we have, yeah, Phobos now moving down south. A snipe catches a queen. We'll see if it goes all the way this time and actually takes out these 2 bases in the bottom left, which are very, very critical for Eris. The banelings didn't really amount to too much. The Terran army is still pushing in what is perhaps the slowest death ever for Eris. It has retaken this base towards the north, though, showing us that it truly believes in this macro strategy. A couple of banelings are like, I think I can, but no, they can't. You need about 30 banelings to engage this army. A couple at a time isn't going to work, as Phobos does have pretty good army control, even killing the eggs. That's unfortunate for Eris. Eris does have this base in the bottom left still. We'll see if Phobos deals with that. Instead, it seems to be targeting the lair now over towards the right-hand side. I do wonder if Phobos maybe has some sort of weighing when it comes to what it chooses to attack. That would make sense. And for example, a lair would weigh more than a hatchery, and it hasn't seen this other tech, so that makes a lot of sense. If we actually select Phobos' vision, we can hear it saying a building is blocked, so it is trying to get up an expansion, but it just isn't putting 2 and 2 together. So maybe Phobos needs an update to handle that. You listen to that all day, that'll drive you insane, that's for sure. I can't build here, as there's lings all over the place. Looks like another base is being cleaned on up. Phobos actually decides it's time for ship weapons. This is what I've been lacking all game. That's what I need. Funnily enough, don't ask me what trigger possibly occurred that Phobos is like, yes, give me ship weapons. Maybe it's just a time thing in the game, who knows. We do have that lair being taken care of. Now, Eris still has more bases up, as it's building, of course, a new lair, making some hydras. If there was some lurkers out for Eris, that may be what it needs. It has managed to get up 16 banelings, which is no small amount, but I mean, Phobos is still completely maxed out. It's now moving towards the bottom left, and this is going to be problematic because this is all the tech, and I don't know if Eris can afford to lose all this once more. This is what you get, ladies and gentlemen, when you click on the longer bot games. This is the madness that you see as this base is being taken out. Eris is choosing not to defend that location. Is it actually just going for like a Baneling counterattack or something? What are these roly-polies doing? Now they are starting to move on down towards the bottom left. A couple Hydras are like, we can do it. Can they get a siege tank? The answer is yes, but then they run into a bunch of ghosts and they all get executed firing squad style. The Banelings are rolling forward into the siege tank. They will at least get the one tank, but Phobos still has a bit of money that it can replace those. The long distance mining is really paying off, but Phobos is now completely out of gas, so it started making Hellions instead. No Marines, just Hellions. That'll do, it says. And so who knows, maybe if Eris buys even more time, maybe time will be on its side, but it's down to 2 mining bases. Not taking this base, not taking this base. If it zerged a little bit more, I'd say maybe there's a chance. Phobos really is taking its sweet time cleaning this up, though. Eris now has to rebuild a spawning pool. All the tech. It's got a Hydra Den. Still 55 drones somehow, although, 9 of them are trapped in the main base forever. And yeah, Phobos showing us that it is the 2-base wonder kid. I do think Eris is probably dead at this point. Like, it's just rebuilding its spawning pool. It's making more drones. If it had, like, a few more bases, but it just didn't expand quite fast enough, I don't think. It lost, 49,000 resources to 7,800. That's a bit rough. Who knows, though? Drones are kind of distracting Phobos, pulling it back to its main base. Phobos is looking all over the place for stuff to kill, so it is giving Eris a little bit of time. The Zerg is like, all right, I'll rebuild this hatchery, fine. A human would never do this, guys. A human would just be like, all right, fine, it's probably over. I'm not going to play this game of whack-a-mole. But then again, a human would also probably end the game a little bit more efficiently, unless it's Gold League. Then killing your opponent who keeps hiding is always a struggle. We are having a new Baneling nest be produced, as Eris says we will rebuild. Phobos is eventually going to mine out this base. Still got a ways to go on it, though, as it just builds more and more of a mineral bank. It's like one of the queens being sniped. Drones are going to want to evacuate this location. Eris says, I can take this on, as it's got 12 army supply. 11 lings and 1 Hydra. Those drones, yeah, they're gonna want to skedaddle on out of there. It's been a very slow death, possibly the slowest death in the world. And for anyone in the comments who's like, why doesn't Phobos just end the game? Tell me, how would you program a bot that does this more efficiently, but then also doesn't glitch out in other cases or split its army too much? It's tough to know. How do you program a bot? Like, as far as Eris knows, it's still seeing drones, it's still seeing army units. It has no reason to go into a mode that it just cleans on out all of its opponent's stuff. Lings are being taken care of, though. That one Raven, worth its weight in gold, detecting all those burrowed units. If that Raven wasn't there, who knows? Eris may have won this game. As we do see another hatchery go down. The red Zerg is down to 28 workers, a good chunk of them stuck in the main. Mining has really slowed. The whack-a-mole, the mole's getting tired at this point. It can't keep hiding. If there was a counterattack from Eris, maybe it would have had some success. But I think it is not meant to be. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched until this point in the video, go ahead and click that like button, because clearly you enjoy this madness as much as I do. If you're watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, clearly you enjoy this content. If you've watched up until this point, either that or you're very confused. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these goofy bot games. I'll probably do another compilation video of like a couple of shorter games soon enough, and then I'm also putting up some YouTube shorts on the channel, just to see how that goes. See if we can get more people seeing these bot games and those nice little micro battles. A couple of banelings, I mean, they do connect, they do kill a Hellion. So for all we know, Eris maybe just needed a little bit longer. That's all it says. Eris just says, if I could just build a few more drones and macro a little harder, maybe I could have won this game. I think that that's the last of the tech out on the map for Eris. If we listen to Phobos' point of view, it keeps trying to build, but it's just never going to happen. This SCV waiting for its purpose. Eris actually GG's out. It finally says, okay, that's enough. I've lost. I can't do it. Which is, I think, after like those 12 minutes or whatever of whack-a-mole, Eris is finally like, that's enough. GG. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.